Welcome to Intentionalist podcast. My name is Coach Alice Muhirwa. I'm an executive coach, an image and etiquette consultant. I help women refine, rebrand, so that they become more convincing and converting in their social and professional endeavors. This podcast was created to give you inspirational and empowering stories from corporate and professional women, experts, so that you embark on your journey of self-refinement and empowerment as an expert. Today's guest is an advocate of mental health. She's a doctor, a psychiatrist. She also hosts a podcast, which she will talk about in details. We are going to discuss finding your way back to yourself after motherhood. Welcome to our podcast, Dr. Vundi.
Thank you. Thank you for the lovely introduction. And I'm glad to be here.
I'm so honored to host you. I really love what you do, the way you create awareness around motherhood. I watched most of your content on pregnancy, prenatal, natal, and post-natal content. It was so lovely and very intentional. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So for those who might not know, I do have a podcast. It's called the Self-Work Podcast.
Yes.
And that's a very intentional name.
Yes.
Because I believe that the journey to becoming a better version of yourself, yes, you can be helped by experts like us, but there's a lot of self-work that goes into it.
Yes.
So that journey you've just mentioned of me becoming a mother moved me from, okay, I'm now not sharing my story as a doctor. I now moved to the other lens of I'm learning just like every other new mom learns. And I thought it resonated with a lot of women.
Yeah. Yes, it did. But before we go deep in the content, who is Dr. Vundi and why interest in psychiatry and now psychiatry of the mother?
So I'm many things. Firstly, I like to say that I love to learn. I'm somebody who's constantly learning. So I am a doctor, but I'm always reinventing myself. I started to do psychiatry, but recently I went into women's psychiatry.
Yes.
So I'm constantly evolving as I'm learning more.
Yes.
I'm a mom of one, a boy. He's 18 months old.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, he's the light of my life.
Yes.
And I have one husband and marriage is interesting. Yeah. It's just that I don't share much about it because it's very sacred, but it's also a place where you're constantly learning. I love women. I love connecting with women. I love content creation. I've been doing content creation for 5 years now, whereby you can follow me on my platforms, Dr. Vundi, the women's psychiatrist. I talk about mental health, wellness. So that's me in a nutshell. But at the end of the day, sometimes I feel like I'm just a girl.
Yes, you are.
I feel like I'm just a girl.
Yes, you are. Forever. Coming back to our finding your way back to yourself after motherhood. What's your personal experience as a first mom beyond what you know as a psychiatrist? What has been your personal experience with motherhood?
That's a beautiful question. As with all new mothers, the journey starts with pregnancy. My experience in pregnancy taught me a lot of things. I wouldn't want to say a difficult pregnancy, but it had its issues. So it taught me that our bodies are so sacred. So there is a time when I had such a lot of pain. And I remember going to see my gynecologist and she told me, you need to take time off work. And then I was telling her that, but if I take time off work, this branch of the hospital will not be covered. What will happen to my patients? But so she looked back and she told me, right now, the decision you're making is a life or death one for your child. So that's when I realized at the point of pregnancy is that we are very sacred as women and as mothers. There's no job that's more important than that. There is really nothing else. So that's the first thing motherhood taught me, and that was my experience. Postpartum taught me things about mental fortitude. And how important it is to be okay mentally before you take care of somebody else. So motherhood has taught me that it all starts here. If your mental is not okay, your motherhood will be affected.
Yes. That leads me to a question. What are the most common challenges that women face after delivery, postpartum challenges that women face? How do we differentiate that this is a postpartum depression or this is anxiety? How do we differentiate those two?
Most, if not all women, the figure should be 90% of women go through something called baby blues after they give birth.
Yes.
So this is characterized by being very emotional. Anything can make you cry. Some women feel they're not really connected to the baby.
Yes.
Some women feel really angry. So that spectrum, about 5 days after delivery, happens to all of us. I can confidently say
yes,
happens to all of us. But then by the 4th day, usually it starts to be okay. And why does this happen? After women give birth, something happens hormonally.
Yes.
You can imagine when you were pregnant, you needed all that estrogen and progesterone to support the pregnancy and the placenta. But when you give birth, immediately it drops. And that has an effect on your brain, on your mental.
Yes.
So it's almost like saying it's inevitable that all women will go through some baby blues. But if it's persisting, week 1 goes, week 2, you're still sad, you're still very irritable, you're having very dark thoughts. I don't want to leave the house. I don't want anyone to visit me.
I don't want to breastfeed.
I don't want to breastfeed. When you talk about breastfeeding, that's now postpartum depression.
Yeah.
Then there is also postpartum anxiety.
Yes.
Where women in postpartum tend to worry about every or anything. Then you start making decisions like nobody else can wash the baby, not even your partner.
Yes.
You're very suspicious of the nanny. She's washing the bottles, but you go wash them after she's finished.
Oh my God. I went through that.
Yes. The baby sleeps and you go check whether they're breathing.
You touch them or you shake them. Oh my goodness.
You check 3-4 times.
Yeah.
Postpartum anxiety is common in 80% of women who give birth. So you can just see how it's so prevalent, but yet when you're leaving the hospital, does anybody have a conversation with you about mental health?
No.
They talk to you about breastfeeding?
Yes.
Taking care of your scar?
Yeah.
Vaccines?
Yes.
Nobody will tell you that. Just expect
corset for your tummy.
Corset so that you bounce back.
Yes.
Nobody will tell you that this is coming.
Expect this. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
That's why I do this. I talk about it as much as possible so that a woman who's watching there and maybe is pregnant, she should know that it happens and that there are solutions for it. Yeah.
What are some of those less talked about experiences that make you even doubt yourself as a mother or as a woman? I remember when somebody was pregnant, you were told, rub coconut oil or such oil on your tummy to avoid having your tummy go into bad coloring or hyperpigmentation and all that. By the time you give birth, it darkens. Or sometimes it cracks.
I hear the cracking and the itching.
The itching.
Oh my.
In my previous pregnancies, I've never experienced any darkening or any shrinking or any cracking.
Wow, God's favorite child.
Then my last one, after I think 6 days, I'm happy, I'm recovering and all that. One morning I woke up, my body is itchy and I don't know what it is. And I've been applying oil religiously. I wake up, I found my tummy is like somebody came and put zebra crossing on it. And I sat and cried. That little detail of it shrinked who I think I was. And I'm like, okay, now I'm completely shattered.
So it's nice that you bring that up because a very uncommon mental condition in postpartum is body dysmorphia.
Yes.
So people think that body dysmorphia affects, teenagers when they're really going through puberty.
I was 39.
Women give birth and they look at themselves in the mirror and they don't recognize themselves
anymore. Yeah.
Some of them, so one exercise I usually do when I suspect body dysmorphia is I ask my patients, I give them a paper and a pencil and I ask them, draw yourself. And what they draw versus what they are is night and day. Somebody who perhaps is petite will draw themselves like 3-4 times their size. They'll shade their hyperpigmentation.
So they are drawing their perception.
That's what they are. When they look in the mirror, that's what they see. So body dysmorphia is a disconnect between what is real versus what they think. So you think you've gained so much weight, you think you look horrible, and it affects your self-esteem. Some women also develop, rarely, but it still happens, postpartum OCD.
Yes.
So you want to clean that bottle, clean it, and everything has to be, the room has to be neat. Women develop an OCD-like illness.
Yes.
And it's rooted again in anxiety, because if something goes wrong, the baby might die. That's what they think. If I don't wash this bottle for 1 hour, my baby might get diarrhea, you know. So that's an uncommon condition, but it still really does happen.
I get you. It's a bit intertwined with the question I want to ask. That identity shift. Probably you are petite, your size is changing, you are getting a size bigger. You used to be a girl who used to tuck in and you look so pretty. Now, almost you are thinking my wardrobe has to change immediately. The size is changing. The responsibilities are changing.
Even the shoe size sometimes.
The shoe size, the bra, everything is changing. What can you advise to listeners or followers who are following us now? How can a woman embrace this season with ease and self-compassion?
That's so beautiful, because I like that you've asked the question, because the answer is right there. It's always starts with self-compassion. But even before you get to the point of self-compassion, I think women need to, first of all, embrace gratitude for their bodies. So this is an exercise I do with a lot of women who I feel are starting to despise the way they look physically. So I usually get them to a point of gratitude for, can we talk about what your body has just done? So I take them back and we start with, okay, you made a brain, then you made a heart, then legs, and then that baby grew, and then either you pushed or you had a CS. Both are very, very intense procedures. And then you proceeded, you breastfed. Your body has done so much. So I have them write a love letter to their bodies for what they have done. It's true. I may not look the way I used to. I may not like the way I look. But what do I love about my body? I like what it has done for me.
Yes.
I like what it's done for my child. And if you practice that gratitude every single day, I love my body for carrying, a
human being.
I love my body for being able to breastfeed through the pain. So it starts with gratitude, but I always feel like let's also, what you surround yourself with visually matters. So what are you looking at on social media? What women are you connecting with? So if you're following all the models who are like size 10, maybe you need to start following other moms so that you realistically see that it's okay, it happens. We've all given birth. We all have a fupa. Surround yourself with narratives that will remind you that it's okay. Matrescence, the journey of becoming a mother is actually sacred, you know. So also a community. So I don't know if you had one after you gave birth, but I had a community of women who we'd given birth around the same time. We formed a WhatsApp group and we would just share things, every and anything, so that you realize you're not alone. You're not alone.
That is the thing that I really want us to discuss more, especially for women who are in corporate, in business. There is this narrative that I'm a busy woman. I don't have time to chat. I don't have time to be in groups, to gossip about about children, about what. There is a way you despise the need of help because you're constantly in your masculine power.
Ooh, yes.
And you feel like, I got this. And in you getting that, you are actually collapsing inwardly. You put layers of showcasing artificial strength because you are scared to be vulnerable and ask for help.
It's like you're talking to me directly. Because so at the time when I gave birth, I was in a corporate space. And as you know, corporate makes you feel, corporate is performance-based.
Yes, it is.
There are targets.
Yes.
Did you deliver or not? So a lot of women are in that space, and I was too. And so I shared also a lot of videos, by the way, about nesting, how I prepare my nursery.
Yes, yeah. Oh, beautifully.
Right?
Yes.
I enjoyed that.
I will link her podcast here and her social media pages so that you can go and learn and get inspired as well.
Thank you. And packing my hospital bag, what to pack.
Yeah.
But then postpartum, I realized I don't know that much.
Yes.
So that energy of performing really confronted my ego. Because I'm so used to knowing I'm an expert, first of all. I'm a doctor.
Yeah.
Like, I should know this. Breastfeeding humbled me. So I really had to just be honest with myself. I don't know what I am doing. I need to stop acting like I know what I'm doing. And even the content, I had to be honest with my followers and share that I'm struggling with breastfeeding. And when I did, I was able to get access like to a lactation specialist.
Yes.
The ladies now I'm talking about, we say, some of them reached out, and one of them was a former colleague.
Yes.
Hi, I've also given birth. I'm also struggling with breastfeeding. Let's form a WhatsApp group. The thoughts were there.
Yes.
WhatsApp groups are just, full of gossip.
Yes.
And but then I had to also humble myself that I don't know.
Yes.
So what I'm telling women is motherhood, you can't enter into motherhood like the corporate world. Yes. You must humble yourself, leave the ego at the door. There are things you will know, there are things you won't. Speak to other moms. There are conversations I had to have with my elder sister, with my mom, with my sister-in-law, with my mother-in-law. With mother-in-law, you're always trying to be perfect. I had to humble myself and ask her, okay, how did you put your babies to sleep? Because mine is not sleeping. Yes. And she told me, do this. So humbling yourself. There's a lot of, when you, as a feminine woman, when you also align with other women, it's just magic. It's just magic.
Speaking on baby sleep training, because we are busy women, first of all, let me say this, because I almost divorced because of that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, when I had my third born, which is my first child with my current partner, I was still a busy woman. So I had to make sure that at least sleeps all through at night so that I can be able to rest. But my lack of routine could not allow that, because I'm busy throughout during the day. Yes. The little chance I get to wake up my child and stay, play, and have that interaction with him could ease my constant guilt of not being there. So I would always interfere with his routine. And my partner would not like that. He'd say, can we please stick to the routine so that he can sleep consistently? So in his first 3 days to train him to sleep, there were moments where after breastfeeding, he's put to sleep and he's also crying because he still wants to come and connect with mom. Yeah. Standing beside the door as he put him to sleep and seeing him cry until he sleeps was so traumatizing.
I'm so sorry.
I could not wait. I remember that particular moment when I went and grabbed the baby from the crib, pulled him and ran away.
It's a motherhood instinct.
And locked myself in another room. Wow. And he came to say, baby, please stop, because you're interfering. Yeah. I'm doing this for you because you need to rest so that tomorrow you can be able to go to work. Experiencing that moment of how can we allow help to happen so that we can enjoy the sleep, allow partners to come in, allow parents or siblings or elder sisters who have experiencing parenting. How did you navigate advice, help, people who want to come in and teach you how to do the right way? How did you foresee your way? Yes. In your support system?
First, your story brings up so many talking points. Before I answer your question, I think I know a lot of women are just nodding their heads, agreeing, because a lot of women in the corporate space are working from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. At 5 p.m., they get into traffic. By the time you're getting home, it's bedtime. Yes. So you extend the sleep time. because you want to bond with the baby. People, I know a lot of women are just there. They felt that, and the guilt that comes with baby sleeping before I have had a chance to
bond.
And I want to tell those women, and even the younger you who went through that's so brutal.
Yeah.
And I think that when it comes to that specific dynamic, it's so important to know what you're doing when you're working.
Yeah.
It's not an abandonment, because that's the mindset we
feel that
I'm abandoning my child, because when you operate from that mindset, then now you want to overcompensate. Now the snatching in the night.
Yes.
So there's nothing you need to pay forward.
That.
Yeah.
We are not trading.
Yeah. So women come home and they're like, how much now can I pay back this baby to show I'm the mother? You don't need to buy many toys. You don't need to smother them. Like, don't come back with that, I'm paying back. When you're there, just be present. Even if it's 5 minutes with your child, that matters to the child. So don't try and, it's like bribing, almost overcompensating. And then it gets into now this cycle later on in life where kids expect mom to do everything for them.
Yes.
But to answer your question more specifically, how did I navigate even your partner wanting something different from what you want as a mother? Yes. So I think, first of all, it takes a lot of having strict boundaries.
Yes.
So I found myself getting to the point of saying, me as the mother, you know. And even with my nanny, who was fantastic, the nanny I had at that time, would want to hold the baby to sleep and rock. And I told her that because we are sleep training, because I'm going back to work, don't rock, because if he gets used to that,
he won't do the natural way.
He won't sleep just, the normal way. And she would still do it. So, I have a camera and I'm just seeing her rock. Yeah. It got to the point where you just have to be assertive as a mother, not disrespectful, but just say that as the mother, I'm telling you this as this child's mother. And responding to your instincts, because at that point, there's a reason you grabbed that child.
Yes.
I think God puts in motherhood instinct for a reason. Maybe that child that day needed that hug.
Yes.
So listen to your instinct. Always lead with, I am this child's mother, and you know the best for this child. Even if you're at work all the time, you're still the mother.
I have a question there, Dr. Vundi. Yeah. How would you try your own instinct when it is coming from a point of insecurity?
Oh, so how do you know if it's anxiety?
Yes.
Or
an anxiety instinct response, or it is a genuinely gut response?
Okay, I'll give you a story of, I'd say a friend of mine, colleague, who genuinely has anxiety, but she was pregnant, and when it got to her second trimester, I know she's okay with me sharing this story anonymously.
Yes.
When she got to the second trimester, she told the doctor, I am having a CS. And usually they'll tell you try first, if it doesn't work, but she had this feeling. And everybody was trying to talk to her, it's still a surgery, like it has risk, why don't you try? And she was adamant, and she didn't know why. And when I had a conversation with her, she told me, I know anxiety.
Yes.
I know worrying.
Yes.
But this was a conviction. I was sure.
Yes.
Fast forward, she has the CS. They removed the baby. The cord was around the neck 3 times.
Oh my God. Yeah.
The baby had been almost choking to the point where they pass the stool inside the womb.
Yes.
It was green.
Oh my God.
So can you imagine if she had tried to push?
Yes. Death.
Yeah. So I feel like, to answer your question, I think if you think that it's an instinct, go right ahead and do what your child needs to do. You'd rather find out later it was anxiety, and then we say, okay, fine.
So this is a matter of like safety. It's an SOS.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even with little things.
Yes.
Or not so little things, like nannies.
Yes.
Sometimes people will tell you, oh, you don't stay with a nanny for very long. You're having a problem. But I would rather say, keep changing them until you're okay, because maybe that's your gut telling you something we will never know.
Yes.
As opposed to ignoring it, then later down the line, your child tells you, Mommy, do you know that nanny used to beat me or used to do the worst? So I would say always trust your gut first. Always just trust your gut. And then if it's anxiety, then we'll say, okay, fine, let's deal with your anxiety.
Yes.
As opposed to the the opposite. Yeah.
I would also ask something a bit similar to that. There are moments in my personal motherhood, I used to have, would I call them hallucinations? Would I call them like you are at work in the office, working, and all of a sudden there's some level of like a small video screening on your face that, oh, my baby has fallen, my baby has died, my baby has suffocated. That constant desire to be checking what is going on at home. So those who are now modern mothers, you can at least have a monitor either on your phone or on your screen when you are at work. By the time I was giving birth to my firstborn, I had no that particular monitor. So that constant anxiety that comes and interfere with your usual thinking as a corporate woman or as a busy woman, it definitely affects your deliverables.
Yes.
So how can a woman who is following us and probably going through that, what is the coping mechanism to that?
I would say everything starts with mindset. So life has seasons.
Yes.
And I believe with motherhood, there are seasons where you will be needed more at work.
Yes.
And then later on, maybe you climb up the ladder, or you become self-employed, and then you're more present. So for any mother who's right now so busy with work because you need to work, and you're having those flashbacks, you're trying to work and you hear your baby crying. When that happens immediately, I know the instinct is to call the nanny. I'd say honor your instinct first, call your nanny. But immediately after that, practice some, you can even practice some affirmations.
Yes.
Where you bring yourself back down to reality and tell yourself that this is the season I'm in right now.
Yes.
Will it always be like this? No. Maybe you're working towards a goal.
Yes.
So that's the time to sit with yourself and say, okay, right now I'm not with the baby, but 5 years from now, I'm hoping to be having a business, so I'll be home more. So spend time with yourself and just talk yourself out of that situation by thinking about the next season.
Like preparing your transition.
Preparing your transition.
Okay.
So I remember I had set a goal for when to quit my hospital job. It was supposed to be my son's first birthday.
Ooh.
Yes. So when I would be at work and I'm going through what you mentioned,
yes,
longing to see my child, I used to spend, those monitors are not good because you spend so much time, you keep checking.
Yes.
It's almost like an addiction.
There's a way to develop a certain level of a controlling mindset. You become like a controlling freak.
It's terrible. So maybe it's better without the monitor.
Yeah.
So when I would get those episodes, even I would hear my baby crying and I'm at work.
Yes.
So I would always call.
Yeah.
Are we okay? Is everything okay? But after that, I would go back and look at the calendar where I had marked an X and I knew my goal.
Yes.
So for every woman, figure out what is your goal, what does the next season look like.
Yes.
And maybe that's where working with a coach like you comes in.
Yeah.
Prepare for your transition.
Yes.
I genuinely don't think women should feel stuck.
Yes.
Even if you're not, because you could be preparing for the next thing. You're preparing for when I'll leave this toxic job.
Yes.
Your mind has started changing. And I guess that's where coaching comes in.
And probably for you, you really don't even have to quit. How about becoming more assertive and claim a better schedule, negotiate better terms?
I did that.
Yes.
So I love that you said that because not everyone has the luxury to quit.
No.
So before I even quit, I don't know if I was going crazy or what, but I literally went to my boss and told him that I'll be leaving work at 4.
Yes.
I can't leave work at 5 because that's traffic.
Yes.
I get home like 6:37.
Yes.
So I'll be leaving at 4 so that I get home early. And I think at the time he must have thought, what's wrong with this one?
Yes.
Because we do get busy around that time.
Yes.
And I executed it very seriously. Every 4 o'clock, everybody ended up knowing. All the nurses, the receptionists, even my patients, I would tell them, I leave work at 4. Because being assertive is not being rude.
No.
It's doing what you need to survive. And I think that's what got me through until the point where I was like, okay, I need to now quit. Yeah.
Amazing. Now, we cannot speak about babies and all that and forget an important thing. which is breastfeeding. What are the key things you had to demystify as a busy corporate woman when it comes to breastfeeding? I know it's encouraged to do, is it 6 months uninterrupted?
Exclusive.
Exclusive.
Yeah. And then up to 1 year.
And up to 1 year if you have to supplement or add solid food and all that. What are the things that you know, either basing on your expertise or also on in your personal journey as a new mom? That you have to debunk?
My journey breastfeeding was difficult at the beginning. The pain, the cracking.
Oh yes.
So I think first of all, you as a woman have to decide whether you want to do it or not.
Yes.
And I want women to know they have a choice.
Yes, they do.
Yes, because
you do have a choice. It doesn't make you less of a mom.
Did you?
Yes, for the first 3, I had been breastfeeding so very well throughout. And for the last one, after 2 months, no milk could come at all. You pump for almost 20 minutes. You got like 10 ml.
Oh my goodness.
And it's frustrating. So introducing formula at a very young age, I first hesitated. I felt like I've left down my baby. Why am I not having milk and I'm eating well and I'm supported and all that? I am more at ease compared to how I got the previous ones.
Exactly.
So every pregnancy, every experience to me is unique.
For me, I think at the point where you decide whether you want to or not,
yes,
it should be informed by how does breastfeeding make you feel mentally, emotionally. There are some women who hate.
Yes.
They have milk.
Yes.
The baby wants, but they hate the experience of the letdown.
Yes.
So first decide whether you want to or not. So for me, I decided I want to.
Yes.
So no matter what happens, I'm doing this. But later I came to realize that one thing I learned is that we as women need to stop attaching our value as a mother on breastfeeding.
Oh, can you repeat that?
We as women
yes,
need to stop attaching our value as a mother versus how much we are breastfeeding or how well we are doing it, how long, how much milk are you producing, are you pumping? Because some women don't even pump.
Yes.
And they, it's looked at like, oh, why are you not pumping? When you're at work, now the baby's getting formula, you should be pumping.
Yes.
And because now what happened?
Are you doing exclusive? Are you supplementing with formula?
Exactly. Yeah. When I stopped breastfeeding at 11 months, same thing happened. My son, I think the milk was too little and he preferred the bottle.
Yes.
And the formula. I felt like such a failure. I think I got a little bit depressed. And there's actually something called post-weaning depression. When women stop breastfeeding, because the hormones again drop.
Yes.
You start to feel worthless, like
I'm useless. Yes, yeah.
So one thing, I spoke to my husband about it and he told me, now welcome to the club. Me, I've not been breastfeeding, but somehow I learned to connect with my child.
Yes.
I learned to play. I learned to, so now he was telling me, now learn your child, learn other ways to connect. It's not just breastfeeding.
Yes.
Because I used to show off, anything happens when he cries, I just breastfeed like I'm the boss.
Yes.
But now you need as a mother to realize
now you have lost the magic queen.
You need to realize that even just your hug is so special as a mother. Even the words of affirmation, yes, they're babies, but even you telling them I love you and all that, it's so if you don't breastfeed, you're still a mother. Yeah. And if you do breastfeed, well and good, but if you don't, it's okay. It's okay.
I love that. I love that self-compassion and having the choice to either see if you're willing to embark on this journey or just transition when you want.
There's this thing we say in our WhatsApp group.
Yes.
Like nowadays, do we walk around saying, oh, me, I was breastfed? Do you know who was breastfed in this room or who was on formula? It doesn't matter at the end of the day.
It doesn't.
Because we make it seem like if you don't breastfeed your child, that's it. He won't enter school. He won't have friends. He will be sick every month. But that's not the truth. So I want us as mothers also to zoom out.
And how I don't know how is it nowadays, but a long time, I remember my mom telling my youngest sister that you breastfed for 3 years, you should be very intelligent.
Right.
So is there any scientific aspect that back that breastfeeding increase brain work?
So there are some benefits, to be honest. Let's give breastfeeding its flowers.
Yes.
First of all,
no, I'm talking about on the brain and intelligence.
Not specifically intelligence, but for instance, babies who are breastfed apparently get less infections within the infancy. So that's 0 to 5. And then the
immunity.
But then also breastfed children in terms of obesity. There's a study that was done and it showed that the ones who are on formula, the ones who tended to go along the line of cardiovascular diseases, central obesity. But for women, it's also the women who breastfeed are at less risk of developing breast cancer. So there is a benefit. There is a benefit to it. But I think if it comes at the risk of your mental health deteriorating, if you're breastfeeding and you are just shedding tears, some women would tell me when the baby cries and you have to breastfeed, instantly you just feel like rejecting the baby. If it comes at that cost, then surely it's time to maybe stop and put yourself first.
How come sometimes while breastfeeding, you will find that some women experience hair loss, weight loss, cavity to some, dental cavity, losing teeth. My mother had experiencing that of dental cavities.
Wow.
I would like to know what are the ways that somebody can now supplement or prevent such a things to happen.
Definitely diet and hydration. I learned this a bit too late. I wasn't drinking enough water. And then supplementation. The supplements they give you, the prenatal ones. Please continue them. If you're watching, you continue them until you stop breastfeeding. And then for me, I think every woman needs to be on collagen. So whether you're postpartum, but especially postpartum, because you lose a lot of that after giving birth and breastfeeding.
You need more of cell reconstruction.
Exactly. And you're always... Breastfeeding is eating away at every single cell in terms of producing energy. Everything is just working hard to produce energy. So I would be an advocate for supplementation.
Thank you so much. Looking at coming back now to work, you have given birth, you have gone through all those creating routine, what work doesn't work, adjusting yourself, liking or hating your body, living with that. Now you're back to work. What can you advise a woman who is either first mom, mother, or even a repeat mom? What are the best way to switch back into your busy life? What are the hacks that can you share with our listeners?
I'd like to educate a lot of women to advocate for themselves in their workplace. So for me, I was fortunate enough that my employer created a nursing room. Perhaps I was fortunate enough to have been in a leadership position. So when I went to give birth, now they started thinking of, okay, we need a creche and all that. But do you know that legally, your employer needs to provide a nursing room for women who've given birth? And they have stipulated that room has to have a fridge. It has to have a running water. So women shouldn't be pumping in the toilet.
I will talk about that.
Please do, because it's in the law. But women, because they don't know, they don't advocate. So I advocate for you. I advise you to walk into HR before you go to maternity and talk to them and say, when I come back, as is my right, please show me where I will be. Pumping, and your pumping break is not lunchtime. The same law stipulates that you should have time to pump that is separate from your lunch break. Because now we're having women, they are eating in the toilet while pumping during their lunch break. I think if we just spoke up, nobody will think you are rude. Some employers just don't know.
They don't know, honestly.
It's not crossed their mind. What was your experience? Maybe
my experience, well, the first 2 children, I got them when I was still working, studying, and I didn't have that luxury to pump and all that. So I lived like like a machine.
Wow.
Now the third one, I was working, and now I started doing pumping and all that, because I would go with a whole bag like this, heavy, and then a laptop bag. It's so unkempt. There's no polishness when you are in that season. So we didn't have a nursery room at work, so I would still, because I had an exclusive office, so I would pump on my desk. So I would close, lay everything down, remove, pump. I had to carry a different blouse, an extra bra, too many pads, so that you can keep adding, changing, and then take it to the cafeteria to put the milk together with in the common fridge where we usually carry our lunch boxes. So one time my senior came and knocked, and I'm saying, I'm sorry, I'm pumping, take some time. So I had to clean up, freshen up and all that, and then let him in. And his first reaction was, why are you pumping in the office?
They don't know.
Yeah, and I'm like, where do you want me to pump from? We don't have a nursery room. Then his first instinct as a man was like, why don't you go to the bathroom?
Oh my goodness.
And I'm like,
get it.
Would you eat food that was prepared in the bathroom?
They don't understand.
Then he said, no. Then why would you want my child to eat, to take milk that was pumped from the toilet?
Yes.
It's inconvenient. Yes. He said, oh, I'm so sorry. So what can we do to create something that is convenient even for other people? I say, we need to create nursery rooms. That day, we had a second room that was like a common area for other staff. We closed that. They put a lounge. They put a mini fridge that was not really fancy. Yeah. And that's time I happened to learn that there are other fridges specifically for breastfeeders. Yes. So we didn't have that. Temporarily, we put a normal small fridge. You see those Fanta fridge? Yeah, the Coca-Cola one. Yeah. They gave us that, a table, a different bathroom where mothers can go and change themselves, a changing room, and a blanket.
Look at that.
And then a table for tea, different tea and cookies for mom who are breastfeeding. At least there is that privacy, and knowing that your food, your baby milk is not going to be closer to people who have carried omena, the smell, the what, and then the back and forth of closing, opening the fridge, contamination and all that. But what I happen to learn is that sometimes we inconvenience ourselves by fearing to ask, by fearing expressing what our desire or asking for comfort. Say, oh, I don't want to look naggy. I don't want to look too demanding.
It's because you're still operating in the masculine space.
Yes.
You want to look tough. And
you don't want to look vulnerable.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the thing with motherhood. You really have to get comfortable with being vulnerable.
Yes, you will have to.
You will have to. I remember there's a time I felt I was getting engorged.
Yes.
And again, went to my boss and said, I need to leave work right now. Oh, are you okay? No, I'm feeling sick. Oh, what's wrong? And I thought about lying and saying, I have a flu, but I don't look like I have a flu. Yeah. And I said, I'm having a breastfeeding complication.
Yeah.
And
those ones. Yeah.
When you feel the pain and the
pain, you feel like you feel like you have malaria. You feel feverish. The back is so heavy. The front.
Yes, because people need to know that need to know that I am allowed to be vulnerable because of the fact that I've just become a mom. So advocate for yourself without feeling, oh, am I making everybody uncomfortable? No, occupy space.
Yes.
And you'll realize people are willing to support you.
They are. More likely. And whoever is going to give you a negative criticism, may that show you that they have a problem of their own.
Yes.
And the problem that we do have, it's that we want to control the outcome.
Yes.
We want to control how everyone is reacting. We still want to lead perception about ourselves, but we have no authority on how people think of us. We don't.
I like that you've said that because I was in that cycle of wondering what my colleagues will think.
Yeah.
But when you step out and you realize that first, many of them are supportive.
Yes.
If there's one or two who are not supportive, it doesn't affect anything. It doesn't change anything. So I
remember one day I had, should I call it a a faux pas or a wardrobe malfunction. I had to go in a boardroom meeting, and I was wearing a silk blouse under my vest, and for some reason the pad moved, slided a bit, and then I stained both like this, and I could see people are looking at me.
Were you presenting?
Yes, I was doing a presentation, and I'm seeing, you see how people are looking at you, but they're not attentionate to what you're saying. They're just observing you. Like someone want to swallow you. Can you look at your breast a little bit and stop and go to yes, they are trying to signal me, but me, I don't know. And then I had to stop and say, what? And somebody told me, I think you got an accident.
Wow.
And that was an elderly lady.
Thank God for those.
Yes. Yeah. And I say, what accident, please? So my reflex was probably I stained my skirt or something. And I said, I'm like, you can go to the ladies and check. And when I went there, I saw already in the mirror that these two things are working over time, and I have no change of blouse, nothing, and I have to keep pitching for whatever I was pitching for. That time, the level of confidence shrinked from this level to zero. I said, what do I do? Should I close? Should I open? Should I do? Then I had to decide. I have to go back and say, can we continue our meeting? I'm a mom, and this is an accident. And in that particular moment, I felt dirty. I felt unpolished. I felt unprofessional. I felt all sort of feelings. I wasn't myself until that meeting ends, and I immediately went away. How can you help a woman in that particular scenario? How do we remain polished? And also at the same time give ourselves grace when such accidents happen.
I'd start by telling that woman that it's happened to many of us. So for me, one memory that sticks out is I mentioned my pregnancy had issues. So I have fibroids. So I've always had heavy periods. And then, they get, after delivery, it's like they get heavier. So that happened for me. So my first period after giving birth came very early, 3 months after giving birth. So one, I didn't expect it. Then two, it came back so heavy. And I was sitting in my boss's office, and it was a very serious meeting with another high-level executive, just the three of us. And I just felt the
drop.
And I was like, what do I do? First, I can't interrupt the meeting. It was a very serious high-level meeting. And then if I interrupt it, what's my plan? Because I stand up, then everybody sees. I sat there, first of all, I couldn't even hear anything in the meeting.
Numb,
sweating. Now I have sweat patches. So I want everyone to know. Eventually, I stood up, and what had happened. But I didn't stay there to see their reaction. I just stood up and went. So the door was somewhere that way. Of course, I'm sure they must have seen. And I went straight to the receptionist and told her, just go and get that chair and give it to the cleaners. And I just literally went home. I went to my car and went home. Because this was an unplanned period. I had just given birth. So I want every woman to know that it happens to the most of us. And there is no way to not feel bad. I wish I had a magic pill to say, this is how you go about it. But for me, it's just showing up the next day as now the polished version of it. So go home, do what you need to do, shower, change. And then the next day you show up, because with a woman, that's our skill. We are flexible, we are adaptable, we are pliable. You show up the next day with now stronger breast pads. You show up the next day with a contingency and with your head held up high. You don't walk in like, oh, you've done something wrong. No, these are our bodies and it's natural.
I love that. The acceptance that this is us.
We keep it moving.
I love that. Now, looking at what is happening around, the world is so busy, so many things happen, and we have to grow, we have to expand, we have to we have to get going, honestly. Life should continue with all these challenges in motherhood and all that. I would like you to tell our listeners, what help do you provide that a woman who desiring to make it better, to make her journey easier, to seek help, what do you provide in terms of help?
So thank you for that. I provide women's wellness services for individuals and for corporates.
Yes.
So I'll start with corporate organizations. I do give talks about mental health, corporate wellness, because there's a lot of toxicities that happen. Like you see what we were talking about, unintentionally. So you find an office is being unfair to mothers because they don't know.
Yes.
So I do offer those services, corporate wellness. I come, I speak to your organization and coach you on certain matters, mental health and wellness. For individuals, I work with women who have mental health conditions or who are transitioning through periods and their mental health is taking a hit.
Yes.
So where my clinic is in Upper Hill at 40 Suits, but what you can do is I'll share my email.
Yes.
I like to get an email with a brief of what kind of help you need, and then we plan for the visit.
Yes.
But also you can follow me on my social media handles. I'll share because there I give free information. So I am an advocate about all these things, about how your periods affect your mental health, menopause and how it affects mental health. So you can follow me to get that information.
1 or 2 words to the woman who want to find her way back after motherhood, after giving birth. Let me not say after motherhood.
After giving birth. I would say the first thing is accept where you are now. As I said earlier, accept how your body looks now. Don't be in denial. Accept that maybe you've lost some friends along the way.
Oh, yes.
Accept that perhaps your career you go back to work, some people got promoted and you didn't. Accept first. But then after that, there is hope in reinventing yourself. So there's always hope in asking yourself, who am I now? Who can I be? What's open to me? So for me, I shared my personal journey with content. I'd always done content on mental health. But when I became a mother, I realized, I can actually now talk about motherhood.
Yes.
Reinvent yourself. You don't have to want to be the you who was 26-year-old wearing size 8. Be the new you, and the new you, I promise you, has new exciting opportunities.
I love that. Thank you so much, Dr. Vundi. I hope you got inspired, empowered to really embrace motherhood with ease, knowing that this journey is possible. You embrace it, be yourself, be vulnerable in it. We shared a lot of things. I hope this is inspiring for you. Your role now is to go down here, check Dr. Vundi's page, take Dr. Vundi's ways of how to connect with her, how to book a rendezvous, and also go and consume content that she shares regularly on mental health and womanhood. And now, share. Share with a friend, share with family, any woman that you know who is in this particular season who need help. Our main purpose in this podcast is to share information and resource to help women who desire to reinvent or rebuild power for themselves. Thank you so much. My name is Cochalis Muhirwa. I'm looking forward to see you again in our next episode. Leave us a comment. What inspired you the most? Or what would you like to ask Dr. Vundi next time? Thank you.